Hello friends, my name is Miranda, welcome back to my universe, and today we're going to be talking about all the books that I received for Christmas this year. I hope all of you had such a wonderful holiday and happy almost New Year. Isn't that crazy? Where did this year go? I have no idea. I personally had a great Christmas. I was able to spend a lot of time with my family, and my fiance actually was able to fly into town for the holiday, and he is here until past the New Year. It's such an answered prayer. I'm so excited and I'm so happy I get to spend so much time with him. So that's been really awesome. But I have a lot of books for you today. I have 22 books to talk about and I split them up by genre. So we will be hitting them one genre at a time. I also have 2 books that are not here yet. They are on their way in the mail. They actually should be arriving today, but I couldn't wait to film this video. Honestly though, what gets me the most excited about these books is that half of them are totally outside of my comfort zone. I'm so here for it. I'm trying really hard to grow and to expand my horizons. I would really love to start reading a lot of novels in genres that I wouldn't normally read. So yeah, this is the haul for that. Let's first start with the young adult fantasy, one of my favorite genres ever. Most of the young adult books that I received are actually by the same author, Holly Black. I love Holly Black so much. And I actually got a series that I've read already, but I asked for it for Christmas specifically because I've never owned the whole series. And I love it so much and it is near and dear to me. And now I finally own the whole thing. And that is the Folk of the Air, better known as the Cruel Prince series. This is a young adult political fantasy series. I absolutely love it. I have not read How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. That's just a random book that was added to this box set. I have not read that one, so I'm excited for that. And I also got The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black, which is in the same universe as The Folk of the Air, but this one falls around 2 siblings, and I'm pretty sure that it's a completely different story. Next up, we have a vampire young adult fantasy. Immortal Dark. I have heard fantastic things about this novel. This is a dark academia fantasy that follows around an orphan who ends up infiltrating an elite academy in search of her kidnapped sister. I don't know if she finds her kidnapped sister, but what I do know is she finds a handsome vampire. I know that it's a series. This is the first book in the series. I have a lot of series in this haul. Like so many. I kind of screwed myself over because now in 2026 I'm gonna have to buy a bunch of sequels and whatnot. That sounds like a later issue though. Those were all of the young adult fantasies I received. Now let's move on to romance fantasy. I got a duology by Rachel Gillig, the Shepherd King duology. So that consists of One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. I'm actually going to open this up right now. Sweet. These are the paperback copies as well. I'm so excited for this one. Look how pretty the covers are. Gosh, I could stare at them all day. This is a dark gothic fantasy where we follow around our main character who lives in a cursed kingdom, and she actually has a monster living inside of her head. She ends up teaming up with the king's nephew to find some magical playing cards. And that is all that I know. I seriously have heard such amazing things about this series, and I'm excited to give it a try. It also has a lot of elements incorporated into it that I have not ever read in other novels. Very intriguing. The next romance fantasy I received is also by Rachel Gillig, and that is The Knight and the Moth. This one definitely has more mixed reviews. I'm excited for it nonetheless and have pretty high expectations and high hopes, okay? It sounds very interesting. This one is a dark gothic fantasy that follows around a diviner who lives in a cathedral. Now, she lives and works with a lot of other diviners, and she receives visions from the gods in this world. One day, her fellow diviners end up going missing one by one, and she cannot receive any visions about them. And she ends up teaming up with this knight in order to try to figure out the mystery of what's happening to her sisters. I think this sounds fantastic. I'm excited. The artwork is beautiful also. I'm such a sucker for books that are really gorgeous. This next book I actually bought for myself. I'll admit to it. I found it at Bookman's, which is a buy, trade, and sell store. So I brought in a bunch of old books that I didn't want anymore and they gave me in-store credit. I love them. I wish I was sponsored by them. That would be pretty cool. But I found this bookish box edition of Flame and Sparrow. And I personally, I don't know about you, but I have always thought that the bookish box additions to novels are just so gorgeous. I've just never been able to afford them, but I found this at a pretty good price. So I thought it was a steal. Flame and Sparrow is an epic fantasy that follows around a girl whose sister disappeared and she blames the gods for it. She ends up seeking out revenge and infiltrates the gods' realm. Well, while she's there, she has to go through all of these trials that were set up by the god of fire. Enemies to romance, anybody? I just thought this was such a good find. Like, what are the odds that I would find a special edition at Bookman's for a decent price? All right, let's move on to more epic fantasy or high fantasy. Some of these might just be like subgenres of that, but I'm just gonna lump them all together. Let's kick this genre off with The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This is an epic military fantasy that is heavily inspired by 20th century Chinese culture. Our main character is named Rin, who is a war orphan who discovers she has very strong magic powers. There is a devastating war going on, and so Rin actually ends up attending a very brutal military academy. Think like super deadly Harry Potter. That's at least the vibes that I get. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but she attends this academy in order to master specific abilities so that she can be a tool in the war. I've heard that this series is super brutal, very violent, but I've also heard fantastic things about it. This next fantasy is a Korean-inspired fantasy, and that is Five Broken Blades by Mai Corland. This is also a deluxe edition. I found it at Bookman's as well. So pretty. This is a heist fantasy novel that follows around 5 different killers as they are hired for the same job, and that is to kill the immortal king. I personally love heist novels, so that's just enough to hook me with this, but also the culture I feel like is so rich here. I'm very excited to read about it. Like, there's what could go wrong? Next up, we have The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. When I tell you, this series has been on my radar for so long, and I have not pulled the trigger until just yesterday. So The Shadow of the Gods, if you couldn't already tell, is based on Norse mythology. This is an epic fantasy novel. We follow around 3 warriors who must navigate their post-war society as the Norse gods begin to re-emerge and a new war is starting to break out. Let me just look at John. Look at my buddy John. I don't know him personally, but I feel like I trust him. I saw his author photo. That's why author photos are so important. I saw his and I automatically knew that I was going to love this book and that this one was going to be a banger. Like, even just that cover, crazy. Next up, we have a book that is totally unlike anything I would normally read. We have the first book in the Witcher series. This is called The Blood of Elves. I also know that The Witcher is a video game series, and I'm pretty sure that's what it's most known for, the video games. But there's also a TV show as well. But I'm pretty certain that all of that is based on the novels. So this is an epic fantasy that follows around a man who is known as the Witcher. He is an assassin, and he kind of takes on this role of protecting this child who has been prophesied to have very powerful magic. I also have been debating in my head for a little bit of whether or not I should read this series, and I just decided, what the heck? What the heck? Why not just start it? I also will be receiving the 2nd and 3rd book in the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. They are coming in the mail. Those are the 2 that I don't have with me right now, but I'm so excited for those. I recently read The Final Empire, which is the first novel in the Mistborn saga, and I absolutely loved it. I read it so fast. I ate it up. I loved all the characters. I just had such a grand old time. So I can't wait to finish the rest of the series ASAP. All right, let's move on to the only historical novel that I have. It's still fiction, but it's unlike what I usually read, okay? This one's probably the most out there. I picked up Shogun for myself. This is the first in the saga. I believe that there's two. I think there's only part 1 and part 2. But Shogun is a novel about 1600 feudal Japan, and we follow around an English pilot who is shipwrecked and must navigate the complex political environment of Japan. The thing that intrigues me the most and why I picked this up is because of the culture. I would love to be immersed in 1600 Japan. Hello? I've heard very interesting opinions on this novel overall, but yeah, I just want to learn. I want to start reading to learn, and I think Shogun is how I can do that. All right, friends, the last genre that I have today is science fiction, and I'm going to start off this part of the haul with a banger. My favorite book ever. If you can't sense it, I'm being sarcastic. Back in, I don't even know, 2018, 2017, I read Dune and I absolutely hated it. And I posted a rant review and I got cyberbullied in the comments. So I strayed very far away from the sci-fi genre after that. I was very hurt, honestly. Like, if I'm just going to be completely honest and transparent with you, I was super hurt because here I am, I was pretty young at the time, and I was getting absolutely slandered in the comments of a video of me just sharing my opinion. So it left a very terrible taste in my mouth. I got rid of my edition of Dune that I had at the time, and I kind of swore off science fiction after that. And interestingly enough, just like a few weeks ago, I ended up buying this at Barnes & Noble with a gift card I had, and I saw it sitting on the shelf. And I usually see Dune, right? Like, Dune's everywhere. I actually thought in my brain, I should buy it again and give it a second shot. I was the last person that I would have expected to have that thought in my brain because I was so determined to never waste my time on this series again. But I feel like I'm healing, okay? I'm healing from that crap show that was all of the drama on my YouTube channel when I posted my review. But I saw it and I thought I should get it. And so I took advantage of that and I put it in my cart, and now here I am with Dune. So I am planning on reading it a second time. I don't know when that will be. It most likely will be this year at some point. But yeah, I'm gonna give Dune a second shot. I have realized that I should learn to separate the art from the fan base. If you don't know what Dune is about, this is an epic sci-fi novel that follows around our main character, Paul, whose family took over? The details are murky. His family owns the planet Arrakis. Paul ends up at some point getting betrayed, and so he joins the planet's natives as they try to take back their planet, take back their home. Am I excited for it? Don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Hope is being restored for the sci-fi genre for me. So I feel like this will be later on this year if I do pick it up in 2026. But yeah, there's Dune. I also received more lighter sci-fi novels, which I will most likely be starting to just dip my toes back into the sci-fi genre. But I received Starter Villain by John Scalzi. This novel is about a man who inherits a supervillain company, and he must learn how to navigate just the world of the supervillains, and he also has a team of spy cats that can talk to him. As soon as I heard talking cats, I was so in. I also received I, Robot, and this one, okay, this one cracks me up because I grew up watching this movie, I, Robot, with my dad, and I was so scarred. I hated that movie. It freaked me out so much. And I didn't know that there was a book. Well, actually, this is a short story collection, but I still didn't know that the movie was based on stories. So I saw it on the shelf at Barnes & Noble, knew I had to get it. So I, Robot is a short story collection of science fiction stories, and all of them explore the complex and dynamic relationship between humans and the development of robots. This one is definitely more of a lighter read that will kind of ease my way back into this genre. The two that I'm excited for the most, I saved for last. My fiance got these for me, okay? The Red Rising Deluxe Edition. And it's unopened. I'm gonna open it on camera with you guys. What's crazy about this deluxe edition was I went to the Barnes & Noble that is nearby my house and they didn't have any of them. And it's interesting because just last week I went and they had a whole table of the deluxe edition and I couldn't even find a normal paperback copy of Red Rising anywhere. And this is a sci-fi novel it's been on my radar for quite a while, right? But I've never bought it, never purchased it. Y'all, I had to go on an adventure to find this copy. I had to call Barnes & Nobles across where I live to try to see who had it, and I was able to get one on hold. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Oh, it's so pretty. Wow. Okay, so Red Rising. Wait, hold on. Give me a second. It smells really good. Oh my gosh. Am I the only one who sniffs books? This smells very, very nice. Okay. I'm locked in again. Red Rising is a science fiction novel that is about a man who basically gets bullied by a bunch of blondes, and so he gets genetically modified. He gets plastic surgery. I feel like plastic surgery is better to describe it, so that he can move up the hierarchy and free his people who have been enslaved. That's kind of a silly, goofy way of explaining it. Basically, in better terms, it is a epic sci-fi that is heavy on politics, and it's about this society where there's a hierarchy and it is all color-based. And so a man who is a red, which is the lower class, they're basically slaves, he kind of realizes the corruption in his society and tries to move his way up so that he can try to infiltrate and overtake the political system. At least that is the extent of my knowledge on this series. There are spoilers everywhere about this series, I've noticed, so I try really hard not to look up information on it in case I accidentally spoil myself. But yeah, that's the deluxe edition of Red freaking Rising. All right, and then the last book I'm going to be talking about in this haul, we have a cute sci-fi, maybe not super cute, okay, but it's a fun one, a really fun one. I got Dungeon Crawler Carl. Oh man, this is the first book in a series that I believe there's 7 or 8 of them out right now. This is a dark comedy lit RPG, which basically means that it is a literary role-playing game that follows around a man, an ordinary average dude named Carl, who is forced to participate in an intergalactic game show. And his partner in the game show is his ex-girlfriend's cat named Princess Donut. So fun. Plus there's a talking cat. I think it's funny. I have 2 novels in this haul that have talking cats in them. Coincidence? I don't think so. All right, friends, and that is all of the books that I received for Christmas this year, 2025. Wow, can't believe that it is already over and that the new year is upon us. That is so crazy. Please let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, what your thoughts are on them. No spoilers, of course. And also let me know what kind of content you would like to see from me going into the new year. I have a busy year up ahead. I'm so excited about it. I have a lot going on, but yeah, it's gonna be so fun, and I hope all of you have a very, very happy New Year's. Please like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you have not already. Thank you so much for watching and supporting me. I love you all so much. Please be safe, make good choices, and I definitely will see you next time. Bye!